Morning, I'm DC Cookster back for another review. So yesterday I did the very first Jaws. So tonight I'm going to do Jaws 2. So basically it was released on July 16th, 1978 in the US. It had a budget of 30 million US dollars and made 208 million US dollars. Its director was Gina Swartz, I'm going to say. And some of the original cast do return for the second one. Roy Schneider as Martin Brody, Lorraine Gray as Ellen Brody, Murray Hamilton as Larry Vaughn, Mark Gunner as Michael Brody, and Mark Giplin as Sean Brody, with many other people in this cast. So what did I think of the film? I do not have as much love for Jaws 2 as I do with the original first Jaws film. It doesn't mean I hate it in any way, shape or form, but it just wasn't quite as good for me as the first one was. So basically we return back to Amity Island, and another great white shark comes to wreak havoc again in Amity Island by basically attacking humans and killing them at the same time. This film takes a very different take on the first one. Very early on in the film they realise that there's a shark that is doing all the attacking, and in the second one, I should say, sorry, it's very much later on in the film until the people realise that it is a shark in Amity Island. The film was well shot, I won't deny that. There are some good scenes in there, but it just didn't quite have the feel for me as it did in the first Jaws. Roy Schneider's role in this I thought, was a very good role he had. It was very different from the first one. So basically, at the beginning of the film, a couple of divers go missing, and they just think it's an accident. Later on, a boat, two people jet skiing, then their boat gets blown up, and that's basically when he starts to suspect that there might be a shark in Amity again. He later on through the film, he knows in his mind that it is a shark in Amity again. All his problem is, I should say, he has to now convince the people, the mayor and everybody else in Amity, that it is a shark, and obviously they don't believe him. Hence the reason why you start feeling a little bit sorry for him, because you know it's a shark. We all know it's a shark, but he's trying to convince them that it's a shark, and he does that and fails to try and convince them, where he then loses his job as chief. Towards the end of the film, obviously you then see him basically try to chase the shark to a point, or try and save some young kids from the shark. Ellen Brody's role in the film, I actually generally thought was a little bit better than the last one, but once again she didn't play a massive role in this film, but the role she does play, once again, is very fitting. Roy Schneider's and Lorraine Gray's relationship in both films is absolutely brilliant. They bond very well together and they work very well together. It was a good pairing. I missed that out in the first review of Jaws, but this one you see it again, so it was well worth it. They are well suited together. Murray Hamilton comes back again as Mayor Larry Vaughn. His performance in this is a kind of like the first, from like in the first film, especially when Chief Brody goes up to him and said, look, we may have a shark problem. Once again, he doesn't believe him, because all he's thinking about is creating money for his Amity Island through the summer. and trying not to scare people away again. There are a group of kids in this where Martin Brody and Sean Brody are in this as well. They go out. They're in this film. I think they're just there to make up the numbers of the film, because obviously they haven't got Richard Dreyfuss this time or Robert Shaw. They're just there to really try and make up the numbers, and basically they are the shark bait for the film, pretty much. You don't really get to know any of the characters. You don't really get to know Martin Brody. You don't get to know Sean. You don't really get to know any of them. So basically they just all decide one day to go out sailing, and unfortunately there is a shark in the water. One boat gets attacked, and once again, as in like the beginning of the first one, the shark decides to play with his food instead of just strictly eating it. And if you know the scene I'm on about, it's the bit where the guy gets thrown into the boat, not into the side of the boat, I should say. Like I said, they didn't have a massive role towards the end of the film. You know, it's a very predictable film, obviously, because it's a shark film. You know, it gets to the point where the shark attacks them so much they basically break up all their sailing boats, and which basically then means that they have to basically rig together what remains of their boats to try and basically drift to a certain point in the ocean, which I believe was called Cable Junction. Along the way, they managed not to do this. Obviously, like I said, it's a very predictable film. And basically, along the way, the shark basically carries on attacking them, and even takes down a helicopter. Towards the very end of the film, the way the shark gets defeated is just literally a pure stroke of luck, which is also basically given away about half an hour into the film on how the shark was going to be killed. It was obvious. It's the only reason why it was put in there. But all in all, the roles that I mainly enjoyed in this film are basically Roy Schneider's role in this film. I loved him in this one because I loved him in both, but it's just his role. Lorraine Gray's role in this was very good. She played her part very well, and Murray Hamilton, obviously. They're the three key roles to me. The rest of them were pretty much just like shark bait for the rest of the film, and that's all they're really put in there for, in my eyes anyway, to make up the numbers and basically give the shark something to eat throughout the film. That said, I do not hate this film. I really don't. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. It didn't have the intense thriller kind of feel to this one. It was obviously designed to make a bit of money because they knew that people would go into the cinemas to watch it. If I was to rate this one, I would give it about a 6 out of 10. Not like I said, it's not because I hate it. I just didn't enjoy it as much. There wasn't really much of a storyline apart from a shark comes back and basically kills a load of people and a shark dies. I know that's kind of expected from a shark film, but just like a little bit of a backstory to the younger ones, especially Michael Brody and Sean Brody, as they are Martin Brody and Ellen Brody's sons, who then basically in the next films grow older, and you see them in the other films with Jaws film. Like I said, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's still an enjoyable watch. It's still kind of action, a French adventure with a bit of a thrilly ride to it as well. If you agree with anything I said in this video, put it in the comments down below. If you disagree, put it in the comments down below. Give the video a like, give it a share. Once again, go to my Facebook page, Dave Cook Film Reviews and Trailer Reactions. I hope you have a great rest of the day. I shall see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.